Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Tea Talk with me. I'm Jessica. I'm just setting up Instagram real quick and then we'll get moving and flowing. So, if you're going to be with us today, just find a comfortable seat. You can bring your journal. And today's Tea Talk is talking about making the mundane into the sacred. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Tea Talk. Today, we're going to be talking about making the mundane into the sacred, or transforming everyday life into sacred ritual practices, presence, and attention. So, I already did my morning work today. So my phone is already dying, but that's okay. We'll work with it. I'm probably gonna plug you in soon. Hi Vic, hey Roseanne. So we'll just give a few minutes for everyone to kind of hop on. But what inspired me to share this is actually the fact that I was wanting to connect more with everyone on a one-to-one basis. And I was just thinking, like, well, what's the difference of this offering? What is the difference between this and like me talking to my other clients one-to-one? And the difference so it's actually, the offering is called Clarity and Creativity Session. And it's, the link is actually in my bio to join, and you get a one-on-one session with me, and it's for 108. So it's like one of my favorite numbers. But essentially the difference with this session is that it's really curated to looking at your life and where we can kind of spruce it up a bit in the way of like working with what you're going through in your life, working with the anxiety, the worry, the fear, and where we can talk about that, but then we can also come into a space where we set intentions to also heal that, and we connect with God in this space, right? Just you all being here, we're connecting with God in this space. We're connecting with the beauty around us. If you will take a moment to kind of feel that, or be in it. And I feel like when we can connect with our breath is a moment when we can connect with God, with this magic in us and also around us. So yeah, while we're here, whoever's here with me, just close the eyes, take a big breath in. Breathe it out. Inhale. Exhale. Beautiful. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. We'll give our body a nice big stretch up to the sky. Good. Interlace the fingertips behind your back. Lift through the heart. Hello, everyone. Hello, Joe. Good. One more breath. Stretch it out in your own way. And then we'll twist here. Coming to center and moving over. Good. Move a little bit and then come to center. I always like to kind of shake it out, shake my hair out, breathe, roll the shoulders out. Good. Find a comfortable seat. And feel free to have your journal too. I feel like these tea talks are a really great time to kind of journal like what comes up for you. I took some notes the past 2 days, just thinking about kind of what I want to talk about, like making the mundane the sacred and where I'm at in my life. And I always kind of bring a self experience into the picture because those self experiences have been my greatest teachers. And I like to share. I like to share and I like to have a story about like one thing that happens to lead into the next. And that's kind of how the tea talks go. So, you're a part of this journey with me. So, comment, share what comes up. If you have any inspiration, you could put it in the comments or you could just put it in your journal. But essentially, we're all connected in this together. So, making the mundane sacred. So, when we use the word mundane, I think kind of like this. Like I think it's just this like kind of straight, narrow path, kind of monotonous, right? And sometimes life can feel like that, especially if we're very deep in a routine or a lifestyle that we may not necessarily love, and a lifestyle that we love, but it's becoming mundane or monotonous. So, one, how do we realize this is happening? And two, where can we kind of shift and look at things differently or spice things up, right? So, I'll speak into both sides. So the first one is a strict routine where you're not like 100% happy in your, let's say, job or lifestyle, and there's this like draining kind of feeling, like robotic. Sorry. My phone is dying. So I have to plug that in somehow, some way. I have to make sure I charge my phone. So we're gonna have to shift a little bit. And then I'll get back to the talk. So give me 1 second. Okay. Let's not spill the tea. So who has tea with them, by the way? I'm drinking this really intense blend of Chinese herbs. So it's really earthy. All right, let's see if that's gonna work. I might have to put me sideways for a moment. Work with it. But anyways, so I would love to hear from you guys, whoever's here, is like, how do you kind of like spice up your life a bit when you're feeling like mundane, when you're feeling bored, when you're just like uninspired, and just like kind of robotic feeling? Because I feel as though no matter what path you're on, it can get to a point where there's a sense of boringness or roboticness, right? And this could be in your personal life, your work life, your creative life, your relationship, your sexual life. So we'll dive into some different parts of that. But I'm going to share, first off, I want to share a quote. And as I was like tuning in to think about um, this idea of the mundane into the sacred, Ram Dass came into my head, and and the quote, which some of you probably know, you can do it like it's part of the dance, or you can do it like it's a big weight on your shoulder. And that was just me kind of saying that for my head. Um, but I love that because all of the things we experience in a given day is part of the dance, right? But it also depends on perspective, right? So I always like to use the dishes as an example. It's like my favorite example because the dishes was like a really intense kind of um, dynamic, or a messy kitchen is a really intense dynamic in my household, right? So what I've done, I've gotten so much better with doing the dishes, by the way, where I am like okay with it now. But I also give myself permission to let them sit there and like create an environment for me to be inspired to either do them or kind of create like a dance or a vibe to get things done, right? Like I'll listen to a podcast when I'm doing laundry, or I'll listen to music. But doing the dishes, sometimes I will, yeah, like blast some music, dance around, or again listen to like a tea talk, or like someone just talking, or a video that I resonate with somebody. Hello everyone coming in. Um, so it depends on the way you look at it, right? It's perspective. So so like Ram Dass says, you could do it like it's part of the dance, or you could do it like it's a big weight on your shoulder. Like how often do we kind of like kick and scream that we like quote unquote have to do something? But I also want to think about like the idea of like having to do something. Like do you have to do that? And like we don't always want to do the things that we quote unquote have to do, but I think there's a given moment to dive into something. So like flow, like the flow of your day. I know um most of you get up and you go leave your house. I mean, some of us are still in quarantine. So, you may still be working from home. And this is like an even greater conversation to be having. But where do you feel like you're in flow? And then where do you feel like you're out of flow? So in flow, there's like effortlessness. There's ease. There's like you're just getting shit done off your list, right? And you're like, wow, this is such a productive day. I'm getting so much done. And then the days you're like, I cannot think of, like, I can't get anything done on my list. I can't handle like any stress right now. And it's just like there's almost like a blockage, right? So I would call that like out of like the flow, or I want to call it like a creative flow, right? Because that creative flow is really like what drives us, and kind of like you could also think of it as like God working through you as well. But that creative flow is also telling you where to go and directing you in a way too. So for instance, like creating a list for you to do the next day. Okay. Or for the week. Like I have to do XYZ, I have to do XYZ, but like that day comes and there's just so much resistance there. So do you fight through it? Or do you take a step back? Do you pause and be like, okay, what is priority? What's priority? What do I have to get done? And then what do I want to do? And the question of what do I want to do is really important, because sometimes the want to do is going to lead you in another direction to get the things you have to do done. So I want to read the comments, but let me know, like, say hi if you're here so I know who's here. Hi, Heidi, if you're still here. Um, but I definitely do want to touch upon, like, also waking up and going to sleep. Like, what is your practice around that? And, like, what is your kind of like lifestyle look like? So Vic said going for a hike after work today with friends. I have to leave shortly to teach, but thank you. Yeah, you're welcome, Vic. Thanks for tuning in always. So I'm gonna have a sip of my tea. I'm gonna read it, and well, let me drink my tea first, and then I'm gonna read a quote. He who makes a beast of himself gets rid of the pain of being a man. I would love for you to like elaborate and explain that one from your view. Because yeah, I'm trying to like connect with it. I don't know if it has anything to do necessarily with today's theme, but share what that brings up for you. Christo Rami. And if that's your full name. So let's talk about making the mundane sacred in 3 areas of our life. Routine, relationships and partnerships, and then your sleep cycle as well. So those are the 3 things I want to focus on. And the other thing I want to say about the word sacred. So the word sacred, like when you just say that word right now, like for yourself, what comes up for you? For me, the word esoteric, divine, magical comes up. And I also think like it's also sacred. Like babies I find are like just so sacred and so beautiful. And the word that kind of comes up for me when you think of sacred. If you want to kind of share anything else, you can. But think of the word sacrifice. So the sacrifice is like a giving something, an offering, um, offering to make something sacred. So even in the word sacrifice, you have a part of sacred in there, right? So what are we offering up when we are being, first we could create like a space and we could create an intention, which that's what I actually want to go there next. But there's this idea of like, what are we letting go of in our day-to-day life? And I think like there's a sense of like letting go of control, right? Because I think control and fear come up so often. And for me, control is really like an illusion for me to think that I'm safer. It's like, okay, if I could control the situation, we're all good. It's all good. If I could control my schedule, my lifestyle, it's all good. But is that actually always possible, right? No, it's not. But the offering of we could really offer anything up. But in this, like making the mundane sacred, what if we offered up control and we allowed ourselves to like be more present in our feelings and what we're feeling. And it kind of comes back to that like routine, right? So let's kind of create a container for all of us here. So I kind of welcome these talks and they kind of go into like a direction of their own, depending on like who's present with us. But I know a lot of you are going to watch the replay as well. So let's all just sit up tall and we'll take our hand to our belly, kind of just shake it out for a moment. Relax the face, your low back, your heart. Connect to your breath. Breathe. Soften. Exhale your mouth. Relax your face, your heart, belly. Good. 2 more breaths. And you're going to take your right hand to your heart, your left hand to your belly. And we're going to make this moment a little bit more intentional, sacred, if you will. And with the eyes closed, just take a moment to connect with where your hands are on your body. Just notice them. Do you feel comfortable in this moment with where your hands are? So follow where you want to place your hands. Again, you are the teacher too. You are your teacher. You are your guide. Let's just imagine all of us kind of connected around the world. We're in this big circle. And we're all just kind of meditating side by side with one another. Although we all are living different lives, having different routines, we're all here in this moment together. And although we can feel separate from from God, from the divine, from Mother Nature. It's really just a moment of remembering. It takes us back. Moment of taking a fresh breath, gazing out your window, stretching your body or smiling. It can be that simple to remember God. Everyone will have a different moment, brings them closer or even farther from source. But God is always there. It's just a remembering. So in this moment, make a sacred offering. Even our worries can be turned into blessings. Our heartache can be turned into medicine. And our guilt can be turned into joy. So what is it that you want to offer up? And whatever comes to your mind, you want to offer up or surrender to, allow that to be buried into the ground. You could imagine just kind of digging a little hole. Just place whatever you want there. Cover it with dirt and water it a bit. And let's let in opportunity for that offering to evolve into something different. I'm going to do like a little invocation or prayer, something that's arising for me to share with you all. Om Namah Shivaya. 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 Take a big breath in. Breathe it out. And inhale. Exhale. I'm just going to read a little intention prayer that I wrote for us, and you can just receive it. May you make this moment and the moments to come that much juicier, that much yummier. May we join together in a moment of prayer to offer our thanks for being alive. Thank you, God, for this life, for the magic around me, and for showing me all the ways I can deepen the love for myself and for humanity. Thank you to our ancestors for being the angels that watch over us. May we remember to live on the path that we've all started. May we heal all that is holding us back from connecting deeper with God, with nature, with love, with one another. May we bless our day here with a dose of joy and spontaneity. And may we be gentle with ourselves and to take things slow. And when we take things slower, we savor, right? So thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, God. So one thing I want to connect on is this idea of living our life on autopilot and how we're moving through each task and each part of our life without really being in it. And it's just on to the next and on to the next and on to the next. And some ways, like within those times that we're kind of on autopilot, the question I have for you is how connected are you to yourself? How connected are you to your heart in those moments of going and going and autopilot? Are you connected to yourself? Are you connected to your heart? And then the other question is, are you using your doing as a way to numb or a way to distract and not feel? So, like I mentioned before, there's like this flow that we follow. So, what I like to call it is following the wave of the day. Like when you start your morning or you start your day, and even if you have to go to a regular job, you could still tune into what is my vibe for my day? What am I feeling within my body? What's arising here and now? And that moment of tuning in allows us to kind of see where we can have a little pocket of time here or a moment here to just watch and to feel. And this could be a moment to moment thing, but sometimes for some of us, we need more than just a minute. We might need 10 minutes, or we might want even longer than that. For me, I know that I like to have 3 hours. Midday, I lay on the ground and I just absorb. And I just lay there and I just kind of let things go, and I absorb the earthiness of the ground beneath me. And that's like a little ritual for me in my afternoon, just to like recalibrate. And it's so powerful. So I would love to kind of plant a little seed for you, is like what helps you kind of recalibrate in a given day, in a given moment. Um so recalibration is definitely recalibration, and presence and intention is definitely powerful for kind of gearing you for the next wave of your day or the next wave of your moment. Um, so yeah, like that kind of comes into the line of routine. So I wanted to talk about routine, relationship, and then sleep. Um, for me, part of the routine that um, helps me to shift, like it's just it's like oh, it's just another day, and just doing the same thing over and over again, is to wake up and think about, well, what kind of tea do I want to drink, and what what am I feeling right now? Like, do I want oatmeal or do I want eggs? Instead of planning everything the day before or the week before, and it comes to that point where you get to that day and you're like, oh, I don't want that. And instead of like fighting it and forcing yourself to do something, it's like, well, why not do what I want right here and now? And what that does is transforms the moment into something much more vibrant and alive, right? Um, for anyone that has trouble sleeping, I would love to know, what's your nightly ritual? Um, Are you one to like watch Netflix and just pass out, and like that's kind of your thing and that works for you? Or do you feel like you watch Netflix and you're more wired? Are you texting before bed? Are you, talking to other people? Are you reading a book before bed? Are you with your lover? What does your nightly routine look like? Because I recognize that when I'm more connected to my winding down at night, I feel like I get a better sleep. I feel that my morning is like, I want to wake up in the morning. I don't want to sleep in. I want to wake up to my alarm. Um, but I know a lot of people that do have more anxiety around going to sleep. So what I have done around those times is to lay on the floor, and I usually stretch out a little bit, breathe, and just kind of like let my mind dissolve all that, you know, my body, my psyche has kind of been through for the day. And and sometimes it'll be louder than others. My mind will be a lot louder than others, but the being close to the earth and having the lights off, that's a big one. Having the lights off, or maybe like a little Himalayan salt lamp, or I have these like really dim lights, that brings you into a state of, when the sun is setting or when the sun sets, you want to kind of match that vibe, so that your body is in a way synced with the rhythms of nature. So to shut the lights off, or at least dim them, is a great starting point to winding down for the night. And I like to stretch out and then like sit up and meditate for a while, until I feel that letting go, that releasing of build up of the day, right? And and then I get in bed and I sit up for more meditation. And sometimes I will take my mala necklace and I'll go through some japa mala, some japa, japa mala. This is a japa mala. Japa just means repetition, but essentially you're saying a mantra over and over again. Um, and and it kind of brings me into this state of just like really peaceful, present. And although I could be saying the mantra, there are still things happening in my mind, but that's okay. Sometimes I kind of let them play out a little bit. Sometimes they're insight for the next day. But essentially, this has helped me to have a sacred winding down practice with myself. And it really sets me up for a beautiful, deep sleep. Um, so why I sit in bed and meditate is because as soon as I get off the floor, I've kind of like shifted that vibe, and to lay down in bed just doesn't work for me always. Sometimes it does. So what I do is I sit up, I meditate, and then that moment where I'm getting like pretty sleepy, I will stop meditating and I'll just go right to bed. But I try and stay in that bhav, in that like really yummy hum of my being, of the space, of that close connection with God. So that's like a sleep ritual thing. But in the morning, coming to ritual and routine, in the morning, it's what I love to do is get some movement in. But it's anywhere from like just turning on a song and moving to having a yoga practice. Um, but overall, what really switches the mundane, and I even want to say the mundane to the joyful, or the mundane to excitement, is to switch it up. Spontaneity, um, laughter, joy, feeling what you're feeling. And then this kind of brings me into relationship dynamics and um, our relationship to ourself, our sexual, our emotional relationship to ourselves, but then also our relationship to our partner, and the the connection we have with our partner on a emotionally connected level and also a physically connected level. So if you've been with someone for a while, I feel like it can get mundane and quote unquote boring, if you will. I mean, boring I feel like is an interesting word because it's like, what are you actually bored of? Is it, that's something to go a little bit deeper in, because I find that I'm never ever bored, to be honest. I think things just start to get like a little monotonous, or there's not like a little spice in it, right? Hello. So when it comes to relationships and emotional connection and physical connection, sex, um, it's important to look at one, our own desires and our own interests, and to also communicate and share that with our partner too. So if you're in a relationship where the lines of communication are not really open and there's some cloudiness there, um, you might feel a little bit more disconnected from your partner. So one, like, communication really helps to spark magic within a given moment, but also in a relationship. So, you know, connecting and talking about like what turns you on or what makes you happy, what are the things that trigger you, like deeper conversations and connecting with your partner, maybe someone you're dating, is a really powerful way to kind of switch like turn a switch, um, and and create a sense of like openness where inspiration can kind of flow through. And then even, physically in the bedroom, what if you were to take your sexual experiences out of the bedroom and into another part of the house, into a place that you wouldn't normally have that fun? Um, what if there was role playing and laughing and dressing up and dancing and yeah, like being creative and just like and being playful. I think our sex life and our intimacy with ourself can be a lot of fun, and it should be a lot of fun. And also for you with your partner, it can be a lot of fun as well. It's opening that space to kind of share that, right? Share that with another, and to be a little uncomfortable or be vulnerable and and experience and feel that. And instead of running from our feelings of monotony and uncomfortability or intensity, it's like, well, what is this saying and what is this trying to teach me? It's like a practice that I've been um, working on or thinking of a lot lately, because I've been in a lot of uncomfortable feelings because there's a lot of newness, there's a lot of growth, there's a lot of change, and I'm trying to dissect, like, well, what is this, trying to teach me, right? So, yeah, with your partner, with yourself, role playing, dressing up, changing locations, maybe going out in nature, public places, being a little wild. Um, yeah, like I think when I think of turning the mundane into the sacred, like we could look at anything we do in our life and it could be magical. It's just like all about like perception in that moment that you want to have with it. But I find that the most magical moments are the ones that are spontaneous and the ones that are unplanned. So if you're one to like organize your schedule in a way that's like so, some days I might need that. But the days where I have an openness, where I at least create a time and a space to have a sense of openness, is um where I feel more connected to my own self, to my own joy, to God and to nature. I try and get a walk in every day, at least once a day. So just to clear my head, just to kind of be open to like what is actually happening in the external world, of other than like what's happening in my mind or what's happening um in my business or what's happening here online. Um but yeah, I think perspective um changes a lot of things. Um Doing a little dance can shift a lot of things. Laughing, crying can shift a lot of things. Um but why I even like wanted to come on here and like share any of this stuff is because I before I moved here, I felt like so like I felt in a way like on top of the world. Like, things are going really well and I'm feeling really good. My clients are doing good. My business is doing good. And it's like I'm moving to this beautiful place. And then, and then I arrive and there's almost this like drop. There's almost this drop. And then I got into this like monotonous, kind of mundane feeling while I was here. And I was like, okay, well, how can I kind of shift this? And it was like I'm doing all these things in a way and there was a moment that I just had to kind of also accept what I was feeling, accept that I'm not 100% right now. Like, I don't feel good right now. And just by accepting that really shifted things for me too. So I could sit here and talk about creating a dynamic and doing XYZ, but there's also on the flip side is like not creating a dynamic and like accepting like what you're in. Um or at least like seeing and experiencing the feelings and then allowing them to take flight and move somewhere else, right? Um but yeah, I want to invite you to join a one-on-one session with me where we will talk individually about what you're going through and then create a ritual or practice and a space to get clarity, to invoke a sense of expansiveness, a sense of joy, a sense of inspiration. Because I know when I'm feeling like things are really mundane and um, just like blah, I know that there's like a deeper lesson underneath that. There's a deeper healing underneath all of that. And that's the moment where I like book a session with my therapist or, you know, dive in deeper with a teacher that I enjoy because connecting with them on that level, it's like me, that person, and then God. So it's like a triangle of beauty, of magic. And sometimes when it's just us and ourselves, it might be a little bit harder to access that. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to share this offering with you all is that if you're feeling that disconnection from your joy, from like yourself, from your body, connect with me, talk to me, and I would love to, yeah, share some tips with you. And the session that I'm talking about is called I called it turning the mundane into the sacred, but that was more so, I guess, because of this tea talk. But really, it's called clarity and creativity session because our creativity relates to our lifestyle and our clarity in our life too. So yeah. So let me know if you have any questions about that. And this offer is going on until about March 1st. So I would love to connect with you all. And yeah, I'll see you for the next time's tea talk. And yeah, I hope you have a beautiful day.